Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Life Podcast. Good news, this is episode 40 of the podcast. I just think that's so cool. I don't know why I'm excited about it, but it's almost the end of January. Today is the last day of January of 2023. I literally cannot believe it. I told my friend the other day, I said, January's over. We're already a month into 2023. This is insane. 11 more months to go. What are you going to do with them? There's a question for you. But I hope your year's been good so far. I hope that the New Year's resolutions you've set you've been blowing them out of the water because you're incredible. I believe that you have been doing that. I think some of you are you're swoller right now. You're more muscular because you've been hitting the gym. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. But man, it's been a month, and today's episode is a special one to me. I say this every week, but this one really is special. And I'm going to title today's episode this: It took me 25 years to learn this. It took me 25 years to learn this. I just recently celebrated my 25th birthday last Friday, the 27th of January. You can mark that in your calendars if you want to. I just turned 25, and I don't know why, but 25 feels a lot older than 24. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like if I tell somebody I'm 25, it just feels older than if I say, yeah, I'm 24. 25 has more credibility. Does anybody else feel like that? Or maybe it's just me, I don't know, but that's how I feel. 25, I'm older, I'm wiser. I have a lot to share with you guys since I'm so old now. So I just wanted to take this episode today and share with you guys two things that I've learned in the last 25 years. I've learned a lot in the last 25 years, but I wanted to share with you guys two things that I've learned in the last 25 years. And the first one is this: I've learned what true success is. That doesn't mean I've achieved true success, but I've learned what true success is. And this is what it is: that those who know me best love me most. Those who know me best love me most. I got this quote from Jeannie Mayo. She's incredible. I've heard a lot of other leaders quote this as well, but I think it's so true. And if you're anything like me, you used to be a people pleaser. I used to be the world's biggest people pleaser. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted everybody to be my friend. I didn't ever want somebody to be angry at me or upset with me. It would bother me if somebody I didn't even know said something about me. Maybe I'd be at school and I would bump into somebody and they'd be like, oh, you're so rude. I would take that to heart. How ridiculous does that sound? But that's literally how I was. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted everybody to be my friend. And that's just not a great way to live. It's hard to live. Is anybody like me listening to this? You want to make everybody happy. You want to be a people pleaser. You don't like conflict maybe. And I used to be like this. I say used to because I've slowly been learning and I'm not really like this anymore. But what it really stemmed from, this need to please everybody, what it really stemmed from for me was that I genuinely valued the opinions of other people. I valued the opinions of people in my life. I valued the opinions of people who weren't in my life. Again, if there was a stranger that would say something to me, I would take it to heart. I should not value what a stranger says. They don't know me. They don't know my life. They don't know what I've been through. They don't know what I'm doing. So why in the world would I value what they have to say to me? But I did, and I shouldn't have. And what this led to was trying to make everyone happy at the expense of my own time, my own energy, and my own emotions. And here's why I want to really address this today, because we live in the digital era and social media is the way we communicate. It's like the currency of our generation. Comments, likes, shares, subscribes, that's how we interact with one another. And I think that this can be very dangerous because we allow people who don't even know us to speak into our lives. If you're on social media in any capacity, you've seen a comment from somebody, you've gotten a comment from somebody, you've commented on somebody else's post that you didn't know, a stranger. You can see anything you want to of anybody's that you want to, and you don't even have to know. There's millions of people that you can just have access to, and you don't even know them. And the same goes for you. Millions of people have access to you, and they don't even know you. Yet we allow them to speak into our lives. At the beginning of 2020, I feel like when everybody did, we downloaded TikTok. I downloaded TikTok, and my daughter Ellie and I, we started to make TikTok videos. We had a lot of fun with it, and we were gaining some traction. We were getting a little bit of an audience. We've gotten almost to 200,000 followers on TikTok from the videos that we were making. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed making the videos with Ellie and doing that. But there was a downfall to it, and especially for me, because I very much value the words of other people. I'm a words of affirmation kind of guy. If you know the 5 love languages, you know that words of affirmation is one of those. And that's me. I'm a sucker for words. If somebody tells me what they love about me, what they like, or they just are simply verbally affirming me, that stuff, I'll start crying on the spot. And that can also be a bad thing. So when Ellie and I started making these TikTok videos and gaining a little bit of an audience on TikTok and Instagram, we started to get these comments of people telling us, my wife and I, how to parent, telling us what was wrong with our daughter, telling us all these things about what we were doing wrong. And I started to internalize some of those comments and some of those things that people were telling us, to the point that I couldn't even look at the comments anymore, because I was like, I don't want to be affected by these people that I don't even know. I stopped posting videos because I was like, I'm tired of people having input in my life who don't need to have input in my life. So that was kind of a hard time. I remember I posted one post on Instagram one time of Ellie. Kinsey and I went to Target. We brought Ellie along, and she threw this massive tantrum inside Target. And I took a picture of it, and I posted it to Instagram. Of course, she's laying on the floor just crying inside Target. It's hilarious, actually. But I had somebody comment on that. They're like, if you discipline your child, they'll never do this. This is a downright embarrassment. We were raised with a belt, all these things. And I internalized that. And I'm like, why am I letting this person, by the way, his Instagram name had 2001 in his bio. He's younger than me. No way the man had kids to be able to say that. Anyway, that's a side note. But how ridiculous. I'm letting people who don't know me intimately speak into my life. And I shouldn't be doing that. I posted a short video on YouTube one time. You know, they have the YouTube shorts. And I was getting all these comments about, not even about me, but I posted a short from the podcast, just a little clip. And people were going off on Christians and how they're the worst and all these things. And I started to internalize those things. And so I've really come to the conclusion that not everybody gets a say in my life, that I really should be concerned about one thing, and this would be success, that those who know me best love me most, and that those who know me best are actually the ones who get to speak into my life. Those people who know me best are actually the ones who get to have input and give advice when I'm going through things and call things out in me, not some random stranger on the internet, not some random troll who I've never met before. So I want to ask you, why are we allowing strangers to speak into our lives? They don't know us. They don't know what God's called us to do. They don't know the things, they don't know why you do what you do. Stop letting people who don't care about you have a say in your life. Start living by this mantra instead, that those who know you best love you most. And those are the people who get to speak into your life. I only want to care when those closest to me have something to say, because they know me. When my wife tells me something, it should have more weight than a stranger on the internet. My wife's opinion and her thoughts and her voice should be louder than the voice of some random person on TikTok telling me how to parent. Simple as that. I think in this digital era, it can be far too easy. And it goes the other way too. I think a lot of us will get good comments from people online like, man, you're killing it. You're doing great. I wish I was like this. I wish I could do the things you're doing. We'll get good comments too. And we allow those things to speak to us. And can I say, I actually think that might be a little bit unhealthy too, because we start to find our value in the words of these people. And so when our value is found in those words, all of a sudden that value can be taken when their words start to say something different. Does that make sense? So I only want to care what those closest to me have to say. I only care that those closest to me love me the most. I don't care if a stranger on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube loves me. I don't, because I don't know them and they don't know me. But I do care that my wife loves me the most, that she thinks I'm a person of integrity, that she approves of what I'm doing. That's what I care about. My mom, my grandparents, my brothers, my closest friends, I care what they have to say, but I don't care about what so-and-so has to say on social media. So I think true success is simply that those who know me best love me most. And again, I got that quote from Jeannie Mayo. It's an incredible quote. I'm super thankful that I heard it. That's one thing I learned in my 25 years of life. Second thing I learned in 25 years of life is this, that the times in my life when I've grown the most have actually been the most uncomfortable and difficult times in my life, both physically, mentally, spiritually. Any time that I have grown, it has almost only been preceded by an uncomfortable moment, a difficult moment, something that I didn't actually want to do in my life. Simple as that. And I think about the verse in John chapter 15, well, the passage in John chapter 15, where Jesus talks about how he is the vine dresser. He is pruning us. He's cutting off branches so that new branches can come in their place. And it's so true. And I think we like to quote that verse, but we don't actually like to talk about what it means. And what it means is Jesus is quite literally pruning us. He's cutting off things in our life that don't look like him, that don't fit into what he wants for our lives. And pruning isn't easy. Pruning is painful. If you think about pruning a plant in your own garden, you literally take a massive pair of shears and you chop a branch off. I mean, cold turkey. Like, pruning can be difficult. It can be hard. But the fruit comes from the pruning. The plant and the blossom, the blooming, it comes only when you're pruned. Because if you allow something that is a dead part of the plant to infiltrate everything else, the whole plant's going to die. Jesus even said that a little leaven leavens the whole lump. Like, we have to be careful and we have to allow God to prune us. And pruning might be uncomfortable, but it does yield fruit. And so in my life, I've just taken observation and taken note that the times that I've grown have been difficult. They've come from seasons of walking through an uncomfortable time. I think of when I was in college. It was a very difficult time because I was taking more classes than I needed to because I was trying to get done early. I was working 2 jobs. Kinsey and I got married while we were in college, and then my last year of college, we ended up having Ellie. And it was just like this constant time of being stretched, and I felt like I had no time. I felt like I was just going from this place to the next place to the next place. It was just insane. I felt like I couldn't balance everything. But in that time of trying to, maintain all these things that I was doing, maintain a family, become a dad, like, I learned how to balance my time. I learned how to prioritize. I probably wouldn't have learned that otherwise. The only reason I did is because I had to. I had to balance my homework with my jobs, with relationships, with my things that I was doing at church. Like, I had to balance it all, because if I didn't balance it, I was going to fall and I was going to crash. So I'm thankful for that time where life was hard, but I learned from it. It was stretching, but I learned. I got a degree, and then I got the job I wanted. The difficult moments in my life have yielded the most fruit. I think of something spiritual, the practice of fasting. This is a spiritually difficult practice. It's mentally difficult. It's physically difficult, but I grow spiritually when I do it. Not eating is hard, especially in a consumer culture. We want to eat. We want things now. It's hard to tell ourselves no, because it's like, if I want something, I'm just going to do it. And so when you fast, you're literally denying yourself. And every time that I've fasted in my life, whether a long fast or a small fast, I've yielded fruit. I've entered into a deeper relationship with God the Father. I've allowed him to shape me and to mold me during those times that wouldn't have happened had I not done something difficult. This is a funny example, but I think of how I shared on the podcast a few weeks ago about doing that project with drywall and mudding and texturing and all that stuff. That was difficult for me. I didn't know what I was doing, so I had to spend a lot of time researching and doing something and to me, it felt like I was spending a lot of time and energy doing that thing. But at the outset of it, my house was nicer. I learned a new skill. And so it was great. I'm glad and thankful for the opportunity that I got to do that. I grew through a difficult circumstance, through a time where I had to exert myself. If you want to do or achieve anything meaningful in life, it's not going to be easy, but I can tell you that it will be worth it. I'm only 25. I don't have the most life experience, but I do know that the times in my life when I have grown the most, it is simply because I have walked through something uncomfortable. The times in my life that have been the most meaningful have come from the times with the most difficulty, with the most pushback, with the most heartache and pain. And that's not to say that you won't grow only in those times. God is constantly shaping and molding us, even in the mundane moments of life. But the times that I've experienced the most exponential amount of growth have been the times where I have been challenged and stretched and felt like I was being pulled in every direction. Those are the times that I've grown the most. Next time that you are in an uncomfortable season in your life, I want you to ask this question. Rather than, God, why me? God, what are you trying to teach me? My friend Alex, he's a pastor on staff, he preached a message called Turning Your Why into What? Saying, instead of why, God, is this happening to me? Say, God, what are you trying to teach me through this? Turn your why into a what the next time you're walking through an uncomfortable season and moment in your life. And bonus, I want to give you one last thing that I've learned in my 25 years of life. And it's this really in the last 5 years of my life. And that's to do whatever your wife asks you to do. If she asks you to do the dishes, do it. If she asks you to put up a wall, do it. I'm not really good at this one yet, but I've learned that when I get good at this one, life is just good. So, I'm obviously being funny, but do what your wife asks you to do. She loves you, and you love her, and you want to make her happy. So that's all I got for you guys. 25 years of life. Here's where I'm at. I'm wiser now. I don't have any gray hair yet. Praise the Lord. But man, I'm excited for the next 25 years and all the things that God is going to teach me through them. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. If you're here and you're not already subscribed to our podcast, you can do so on the Apple Podcasts app. You can do it on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever you're listening to it. Subscribe, like, follow, do what you got to do. Leave a rating and a review. I'd love to hear what you have to say. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode and another week of the Life Podcast. I'll see you right back here next Tuesday.